Well, hello and welcome to Clumsy Clairvoyance. Before we begin, I just want to say thank you for being here. While you are here, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you have not done so. I would super appreciate it. Also, hit that bell down below that with notifications whenever I do go live or when a new video drops. All right, welcome to your full moon in Aries ritual. Purge, burn, and remerge. And dun dun dun. FYI for everyone, this full moon that I am discussing, this October 17th full moon 2024, you can do this ritual 3 days prior or 3 days after, okay? So as long as you're within 3 days before or after, you are good to go. Also, fun fact about this full moon in Aries, this is going to be the biggest full moon of the year. It's going to be closest to the earth as it has been for the whole year. So that's extra cool. And I did want to give everyone a heads up. So those of you that are going to do like the ritual along with me, I will give you a quick list right now, and I will give it to you later in this presentation of the items or supplies you will need, okay? So one is you'll need a piece of paper and or pen or pencil. Two is you'll need something to cleanse with, meaning like some sage or an incense or some palo santo, whatever you kind of have around. And if all else fails and you have some salt, that will work. Also, you'll need a candle and preferably a small one. Now, if you want to know a color, I would say either yellow or white for this particular ritual. Okay, yellow or white. You really can't go wrong with white because you can always substitute white for any other color out there. So keep that in mind. I said pencil and pen. And also, you'll need a little bowl or like a little cup of water nearby to put out part of what we're going to be lighting on fire later. Okay, so keep that nearby. So there is your heads up as far as your supplies go. So without further ado, let's dive into the full moon in Aries ritual. Purge, burn, and reemerge. Okay, so really quickly, some history and lore of the moon. So historically, the origins, I'm sure all of us have heard the term lunatic before, right? Lunatic is a term referring to a person who is seen as mentally ill, dangerous, foolish, or crazy. Conditions once attributed to, quote, lunacy, this is where the word derives. Okay, so ancient and historical lore. So widespread association of the moon with the land of the dead, or hold on, excuse me, widespread association of the moon with the land of the dead, the place to which souls ascend after death, and the power of rebirth. Meaning, people believe that your soul would go to actually the moon after you would pass away. The lunar governance of the cycle likewise leads to association of the moon and fate. Why the full moon? So, before we do begin the ritual, this is good just in general terms for you guys to know what the full moon kind of represents in a spiritual way. So what does a full moon represent in a spiritual or a ritualistic way? All right, so the full moon is a time, think of it this way, the full moon, you will always be releasing. Full moon is always a time for releasing. When we have a new moon, that is the time you want to bring in energy. That's when you're trying to summon things in, okay? But when we're practicing or doing something in regards to a full moon, we want to purge, we want to be releasing, all right? So typically, the full moon is the time of releasing what no longer serves us, letting go, ridding ourselves of the quote negatives, freeing oneself, and making room for quote good or good intentions, all right? So again, that's just a quick overview on kind of what the full moon represents in a spiritual sense and what it's going to be representing for us as we do this while we do this what's it called? It's not, hold on, what's it called? You can call it a ritual. You could call it, yeah, let's call it a ritual. I'd say it's a ritual, it's a practice, it's a purging for sure. So, all right, y'all, let's move forward. Now, real quick, I did want to add this in because, like I said, this is a full moon in Aries. So, I wanted to give everyone just a little quick little synopsis about Aries. So, you could see some pros and cons of some of the attributes of Aries, okay? So, things that might be considered positive: daring, adventurous, honest, leadership, passion, courageous, and romantic. Things maybe not so positive: reckless, headstrong, demanding, impatient, antagonistic, impulsive, egotistical. Don't worry, you're in a no judgment zone, Aries. Just FYI, I heart you. All right, so moving it along. Like I said, this full moon is in the sign of Aries. And it'll be the biggest full moon of the year, October 2024. I did mention that. All right. Now, first things first, y'all. First thing is first. You always want to cleanse your energy, but also your space of any bad juju, okay? Any bad juju. So, note these are specific for this full moon, but in general, you could use these as well, all right? So, keep in mind, the moon is not only ideal for cleansing and clearing your stones and crystals, but also for times like these, for rituals you may want to do, for especially magic. So, ridding yourself of negativity, toxic or unwanted energies, balancing your emotions, regaining your own strength and or power, releasing the power or control others may have over you. Now, what you want to do to cleanse or clear your own energy: find a quiet place if possible. My advice is just find as quiet as you can get, okay? With minimal distractions. And these are some of the items you can use in order to cleanse and clear your space: sage, incense, palo santo, salt, black salt, and I mean, if it comes down to it, you guys, if you're just like, I don't have any of these things, what you can do, here's a little trick to kind of cleanse or clear the energy around you and in your space, is clap really loud, just like this. I mean, if all else fails, clap, okay? But as loud as you can. So that's the first thing you're gonna want to do, is cleanse and clear your space, the energy around you, and like I said, your space. It's very, very important. That way you're starting with a clear space, clear mind, etc. Now, speaking of that, boop, 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 let me grab my lighter. I'll light up my Palo Santo. Make sure if you are using sage and or Palo Santo, anything with some smoke, you give it a good, I guess, circling, a rotation around you, your space. Make sure you're taking deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth, and envisioning clearing out your mind, your space, all thoughts in general, while you are cleansing and or clearing your space. All right, y'all. It's very important. Like I said, cleansing and clearing that juju is so key. Even just little circles like this will do just fine. All right, onward. So once you have cleansed and cleared your energy of any and all, bad juju or just excess energy, now I want you to, I gave you a heads up on the supplies you're going to need at the beginning of the video, but here is a recap of what you're going to want, okay? One candle, small or a chime candle, that's what I use. They're often used for spells. They only last for about a little less than an hour, I'd say the chime candles last for, but even a tea light candle is okay. The most important thing, though, is that this is an unlit candle. Okay, that's very important that it's an unlit candle. And you do not blow out the candle. Okay, it needs to go out by itself for this ritual. Okay. All right, so you will need one small candle or chime candle. Matches are a lighter, paper and or pencil, and a small bowl of water. Like I said, a cup of water nearby, because we will be lighting one or two things on fire. And safety first, y'all. Safety first. So I will give you guys a moment. Gather your stuff, and then let's begin. FYI, by the way, I have no idea who Sam Supplies is. All right. Purge, burn, and re-emerge. That's what we're going to be calling this ceremony, okay? Purge, burn, and re-emerge. Try saying that like 3 times as fast. That was a little tricky. All right. So, after cleansing yourself and your space, gather your supplies. All right. I already gave you a moment to do that. Now you're going to grab your pencil, pen, paper, and tear multiple pieces of paper, like little kind of I would say little squares of paper. I'm going to show you on my screen because you're going to do it with me. I'm going to do it with you. All right, so couple of these like little square pieces, and it does not need to be perfect. Scrap pieces of paper are fine as well. Pencil, pen, whatever you got, y'all. Even like this size is just perfect. This is actually super perfect, okay? So cut or, tear off a few squares if you want a bigger one. If you're a chatterbox, if you're a chit chatter, maybe a bigger square like this one. But you don't need something like intrusively big. Remember, we're going to be using the element of fire in a little bit, which is associated with Aries anyway, just FYI. But okay, so we can do a few more of these. Just a few, like I'd say like between 8 and like 12 or 8 and like 14, however many you honestly feel like doing. And keep in mind the theme: purge, burn, re-emerge. And that the full moon is about releasing what no longer serves us, okay? All right, so these are the type size pieces you want. Like I said, it could be a little bigger, it could be a little smaller. I'm not picky, all right? So I'm going to make myself smaller, though, that way you guys can follow along with me for just a moment. All right, so after we've done that, we're going to make 2 lists. And actually, I wouldn't even really consider them lists. We're going to have 2 different piles is actually more accurate. Okay, we're going to have pile 1. So instead of saying list 1, we're going to entitle that pile 1, all right? So pile 1 will be a list that makes you feel powerless or weak. A list of things, people, places, whatever that makes you feel powerless or weak, all right? For example, I could write down shame. Okay, maybe shame makes me feel powerless and weak. Maybe feeling stupid. Okay. Maybe certain person makes me feel powerless and or weak. A certain situation makes me feel powerless or weak. Any of those things, I want you to write them down. Take a few, moments. I'm gonna write mine down too. So we'll have a little moment of silence while I write mine and you write yours. We'll do it together. All right, y'all. So when you have at least like maybe 3, 4, 5 different, however many things down written that you feel, like I said, this is purging. So write as many or as little as you want. I would say at least 3, though. Okay, at least 3 um, for this first pile. All right, now we're gonna move on to the second pile. I know it says list, but we're gonna, like I said, we're substituting that with pile. So the ones that we wrote out for the first one, just set aside for now. Now we'll move on to the next one. All right, now for the second list or the second pile, we're going to be writing out things that make you feel empowered and or strong. I would even throw in there like confident, things that make you feel empowered, confident, and or strong. And strong could be physically or mentally. It could be either or for this one. All right, y'all? All right. Again, this is for the second pile. Take a few minutes, seconds, however long you need. And again, this is going to be things that make you feel empowered and or strong or confident. Right? As little or as much as you want. But for each thing, I would say that's what we have these little pieces for. So for each, thing that makes you feel confident or empowered, etc., would be another little piece of square paper. All right. So when you guys are finished, again, you're going to have 2 piles. The one with the negative things and one with the positive things. All right. So go ahead and take the positive things, put them to your right for now. And you could put the negative things to your left. All right. Now let's move on to the next task. All right. Now we're going to light our candle. All right. Whoop, whoop. All right. So now, next step is to light our candle. All right. So move your list to the side for now, your positive and negative ones. Make sure that you have that glass cup and or bowl nearby with water, like I urged all of you before. Safety first, please and thank you. Safety first. There we go. So there we go. All right, now it's time to light our candle. Again, the most important thing is that it needs to be an unlit candle. I suggest for this particular ritual either a yellow or a white candle. You really can't go wrong with white because you can substitute white with any other color, and it's I mean exactly that. You can substitute it for any other color or just use it as a white candle. Now, some people do like to, if you happen to have chime candles, like I said, these are really like, these are great for spell casting and spell work. Also, meditation. I like these for certain people when I want to send healing their way. But, anywho, what you can do is start to carve in either with like a toothpick or maybe even like your nails, something sharp. You can even start to carve in certain intentions on the candle if you feel like doing so. It just gives it like a little bit more umph with the ritual. All right, so let's light this bad boy. All right, candle has been lit. Now, let's move on to our next step. Now we're going to read out aloud both lists, okay? So let's start with the negatives, okay? So the first pile is things that make you feel powerless and or weak. So I wrote, knowing I'm a failure of so many things, not I don't even know what word I put here. Not providing enough. And then the next one is shame. Okay. These are things I wrote for what makes me feel powerless and or weak. Now next we're going to read the other list or the other pile, which is things that make you feel empowered and or strong. And I threw in there or like kind of boost your confidence. I put progressing in my life or with my goals, dancing, and working hard for the things I do want. All right. So next, what we're going to do though, we're going to take, this is the point where I would suggest you make sure that you do have no distractions around you, because this is kind of like, the orgasm of the ritual, so to speak. Okay, this is the peak. So what we're going to be doing is, with your bowl or cup next to you, I want you to read out loud the pile one again, and each one, as we burn them, we're going to think of the words on the paper and how they are being burned away from you and your spirit / energy. We're going to use the bowl of water to put out pile one safely, okay? So, having said that, read them out loud again as we burn them, all right? So, things that make me feel weak and or powerless. Again, as we're doing this, you're going to envision, as we're burning each little piece of paper with the words on them, we're going to think of the words on the paper and how they are being burned away from us and our energy, okay? So, shame. This was one of mine. Shame. Put it out safely. Next. Knowing I'm a failure of so many things. Ooh, that one had a good flame to it. And then lastly, I put not providing enough. Again, as you ignite them, think of what you're saying actually being burned away. All right. Now we're done with that. Whoop whoop. And the last thing, last part, last little snippet for the ritual is this. So you're going to take that second pile. That was the one with the positive messages about what makes you feel empowered, okay, or strong or confident. Mine was one of mine was dancing, working hard for what you want, progressing in my life or with my goals, okay? So you're going to take the second pile, and every day for the next 3 days, you're going to read and reflect on those positive ones, okay? On the things that actually do help you feel or make you feel empowered and or strong. So every day for the next 3 days, pull those out, say them out loud, recite them, and reflect on them. Dum dum. And that's it. That is your purge, burn, and reemerge ritual for the full moon in Aries. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment down below. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, giving this video a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like a private reading, I'm always available for those. All that information will be down below or in my About page. Also, you can now find me at Substack. All of that is provided by, all that's actually in my link tree. I will provide that down below as well. So I hope everybody has a good full moon, and ahoo! 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 Ahoo to you. Make sure you howl at the moon because it's good for your heart and it's good for your soul and it's good for everything.